ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite for a welcome address the Honorable Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, who is here ably represented by the 4th Substantive Director General of Africa's leading space agency, and of course, Nigeria's premier space agency. Before I invite him, I would like to say something about the man I'm going to invite. That upon assumption of office, he made a system, the system that has to do with the Nigerian space program. The system was retired. And then this man came with a blueprint, which metamorphosized into a 3-point agenda that has succeeded in transforming the Nigerian space program into an enviable venture. This man is no other person than the amiable and indefatigable Director General and Chief Executive of the National Space Research and Development Agency, Dr. Matthew Olumide Adepoju, is here representing the Honorable Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology. Please, a round of applause for him. You're highly welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. MC. And let me start by thanking God Almighty that brought all of us to this occasion safely. And of course, I want to present the apology on behalf of my Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, who is right now in Lagos, attending to some of the assignments given to by Mr. President for the respective country. He very determined, he confirmed his attendance before higher directors. Right now, he resides in Lagos, and he has sent his good message and best wishes to us. He's one of the very performing ministers of Federal Republic of Nigeria, because the innovation, science and technology has never had this good with every barriers that is breaking down to our sector. The royal father of today, first class royal father of Federal Republic of Nigeria, my own father, the man that has identified with the space agency, who has actually not only operating the palace, but be sending industry. We've had a lot of engagement. He is the real person that is technological savvy. You are most welcome to National Space Research and Development Agency. May your reign be longer. May God continue to bless your kingdom and give you more wisdom and figure and energy, sir. Thank you for coming all the way from Nigeria State. And of course, my dear brother, the president of Nigerian Cartographic Association, Professor Momo Luwani, and my dear brother, the DG of Mining Cadastria, my dear Professor Solomashi, former Director General of NIMET, Nigeria Meteorological Services Agency, my own president as well, because I'm wearing various cap here, Dr. Sovio Peter Bisaka, who is the president of the Geoinformation Society of Nigeria, my equivalent professor, the immediate past president of Nigerian Cartographic Society of Nigeria, Nigerian Cartographic Association. My apology, please. The keynote speakers, Engineer George Ganem, Mr. Peter Ritchie, members of the diplomatic corps, my own father, whom I'm so much happy to see here again, Professor Ayeni, you are most welcome. All the very dignitaries, the head of agencies, I think the chairman of Operation Commission is still on his way, and our gentlemen in uniform, representative of Defense Space Acquisition, Chief of Army Staff, and the likes. Gentlemen of the press, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, but I will not go into the speech without recognizing the executive members of Nigerian Cartographic Association, because one tree cannot make a forest. Thank you for doing a wonderful job, and the members of the LUC as well. Thank you. Thank you. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you all to the 46th International Conference Workshop and Annual General Meeting of the Nigerian Cartographic Association, with the theme Geospatial Intelligence Mapping for Governance, Property Allocation, and Security Management. This theme sits perfectly well with the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFI. This conference is of special significance to me at last year's edition at Federal University of Technology Milan. I was conferred with the highest professional honor as a fellow of the Nigerian Cartographic Association. Today, I'm standing in front of you, representing my honorable minister as well as myself, as the Director of National Space Research and Development Agency. I'm deeply honored to see the association waxing stronger. This marks the third time NASA is hosting the conference. This underscores the importance of the downstream sector of our space program and the crucial role of Nigerian Cartographic Association in standardizing cartographic practices in Nigeria. As part of the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, and in line with the mandate of my Honorable Minister, Chief Uche Geoffrey Naji, space ecosystem revitalization is one of the pivotal roles and focus of this administration. And this can only be attained by strengthening collaborations with professional bodies like NCA, the public and private sector, as well as the academia. Standardization in cartography practices and ethics is essential if practitioners are to fully benefit from the evolving space economic opportunities. Our collective efforts, including legislative backing from the National Assembly, remain a key achievement for these goals to be realized. I hereby call on the management, the leadership of Nigerian Cartographic Association to seek for the National Assembly's bill and ask for Parliament. NASA has made deliberate efforts over the years to ensure growth and stakeholders' participation through various initiatives, such as land use mapping for sustainable development, carbon sequestration for UN settlement mapping, UN SPIDA program, National Geospatial Data Infrastructure, to mention a few. In addition, the agency is sustaining the georeference infrastructure and demographic data for development, which support the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals with reliable mapping data. Development cannot be achieved without a reliable mapping data, which is the primary responsibility of cartographers in our land. Errors on maps can actually be seen, creating crises, communal clashes, even intercontinental and national crises. Examples are all over the world, from Gaza to crisis between Pakistan and India. It's because cartographers were not engaged to create international boundary that serve everybody. I am also pleased to inform you that NASA is working towards launching few new satellites. Mr. President has approved 4 new satellites for us. For this purpose, the agency also hosts institutions for members of Cartographic Society or Association to actually earn advanced degrees for masters and PhD. I want to charge all NCA members, industry leaders, research institutes, and universities to intensify collaborative research with the agency in order to drive industrialization, socioeconomic development, and national security. NASA remains committed to the unity and progress of the association, recognizing that only through this collaborative effort can our shared aspiration achieved. Nigeria and indeed Africa cannot afford to remain on the sideline of the global development. We must move from being consumers of imported technology to building indigenous capacity in digital mapping, geodata specialization, and many others. This is the only way our youth can become gainfully employed. Encouragingly, there is a growing investment in the space sector. New research centers and stronger partnerships are emerging with government and private sectors, being the anchor of my own administration. Regional bodies such as African Union, through the African Space Agency, have also demonstrated greater commitment to geospatial solutions to solve our numerous problems. As we adopt innovative mapping techniques and integrate geospatial technologies into governance, poverty alleviation, and security management, I urge us all to engage actively, collaborate effectively well, and contribute meaningfully to national discourse and find solutions to our challenges. This conference provides an opportunity to translate cartographic science into practical tools for national development. I want to commend the leadership of the association for its vision in drawing distinguished experts and stakeholders to this year's conference. The technical sessions and deliberations will no doubt yield recommendations that will further strengthen Nigeria's cartographic practice, national development, security, and enhance all the renewable agenda of Mr. President. In conclusion, let me leave us with this thought, which I saw on the screenshot of Dr. Bello this morning. The best leader lives with both man and the mirror, because direction and reflection is a tool for good leadership. Once again, I welcome you all and I wish you fruitful deliberation. Thank you. Thank you.
That was a very powerful presentation here by the representative of the Honorable Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology. One thing about the NASDAQ boss is that he always unveil the secrets of climbing the success ladder, which of course is making reference and respect for elders, especially the traditional institution. You will all agree with me that before he started, he had to honor our royal father of the day and the Esu of Nupe here for his presence, for his fatherly role, for his advice, for his encouragement, for his partnership. That is a success to climbing, that is the secret to climbing the success ladder. Again, he made mention of the fact that cartographers, especially in the space agency here, play a very, very strategic role. He again went further by announcing that recently the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, approved the design, building and launch of 4 additional satellites. And the satellites are 3 optical satellites and of course 1 synthetic aperture radar satellite. And to cap it off, you have to invite the cartographers play a very significant role in the actualization of this dream. I believe the representative of the Honorable Minister deserves a bigger round of applause for that. Thank you very much, sir, for that powerful remark. Our distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I have the singular honor and privilege to invite for his remark Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I was just reliably informed that while the proceedings were on, the chairman of the National Population Commission walked in. Please, I would like to recognize the presence of
your number, please. Your number. Send it to WhatsApp. Okay.
Our distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we would like to recognize the presence of the chairman, Population Commission, National Population Commission, Honorable Mr. Kwara. Please, a round of applause for him. Please, you're highly welcome, sir. We're also privileged to have in our midst the Chief of Defense Space Administration, Air Vice Marshal Oluwatoyin. A round of applause for him. You're highly welcome, sir. And we also have in our midst one of our fathers here in the house. He is Professor Richard Akiyede. Please, a round of applause for him. You're highly welcome, sir. Our distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to take us further in this all-important function, I have the singular honor and privilege to invite the President of the Nigerian Cartographic Association, Professor Momo Rewan, NCA, for a remark. Please, a round of applause for him. You are highly welcome, sir. Please keep clapping, keep clapping, keep clapping. You're welcome.
What's that?
Oh, no, bring the number. Let me download.
I'll send to you. What just happened?
No, sir.
Okay, they won't. Okay.
Thank you so much. I'm not very good with protocol, but I'm very happy with the protocol that our host and the director of the Honorable Minister has established. But I mistakenly that I was wondering where our host learned how to establish such a protocol. So I want to plead with you, sir, that I want to lean on your protocol when you establish and to rest on it. I don't even know where to start because I'm so elated this morning. So elated because of the caliber of dignitaries we have with us this morning, and also the vibrant audience that are with us today. And I thank you all for gracing our occasion, for honoring us. It's with great pleasure that I join our hosts in welcoming you to the 46th International Conference, Workshop, and AGM of the Nigeria Cartographic Association. Permit me to specially thank the Honorable Minister for Innovation, Space, Science and Technology, Chief Uche Gofimunaji, ably represented here by one of our hosts, our father, our friend, the Director General of the National Space Research Development Agency, NASA, Dr. Matthew Olumide Adekwoju.
Is it that this guy is not shaking your oil? I think it's someone's name.
And the privilege of having him here to declare the ceremony. So I would deeply appreciate you and probably look forward to a very robust relationship between NCA and your ministry, and in particular between the association and your person. I most sincerely appreciate our esteemed royal father, His Royal Highness Alhaji Dr. Yahya Obaka, CFR, the SULP, and the Niger State Chairman of the Regional Relay Council, and also the Chancellor of Abuja University, Epoma in Edo State. Most of you may not be aware of that. Sir, thank you so much for coming. I had an event last day in Niger State.
Yeah.
And I tell you that 80% of the sales of that event is attributable to the effort of His Royal Highness. He did everything possible to ensure that the NCA 45th International Conference, Workshop, and AGM was successful and had the light of the day in Nigeria. So we appreciate that.
So we want to convert it to PDF.
We are grateful, sir, not just for your presence here today, but also for the pivotal role you played when we had our event in Mina last year. NCA reverend you and reverend our association with you, and definitely we are going to consolidate on it as we move on, sir. In a most special manner, I'd like to eulogize our hosts, the indefatigable, visionary, and amiable Director General of the National Space Research and Development Agency, NASA, Dr. Matthew Olimide Adeboju, for standing with us over the years. Even before he became the DG, he was always in our events. Wherever he was in Lagos, wherever we are having our NCA event, he was always there. And he has always been with us. And I tell you, for this year's event, when we started conceiving it, we had our problems, our thinking problem. We know how difficult it is. And I met him, I said, sir, we are at the verge of having our annual event this year, but it is difficult. And you know what it means when we say it is difficult. He looked at me and said, don't worry, it will be fine. We will do everything possible to assist to ensure that this event is the most successful one. And he did that. He provided the base for us to anchor all that was required for us to have a seamless and very successful event. So we are very grateful to that. And like I always told you, we are very happy with you because you are showcasing us well in geospatial science. You are doing marvelous and excellently very well. And when you do that, you are not just doing it for yourself, you are doing it for us in geospatial science. And that makes us proud of wherever we are and to hold our head very high. We are honored to have with us several other dignitaries that have come to add color to our ceremony and share in our common vision of promoting the place of mapping in national development. With us here, we have the SODP, our father that I've already mentioned. We have the chairman of the National Population Commission, Honorable Isa Nasser Isa Kwara, is the father of NCA. We also have with us the Director General of Mining Cadastre, Dr. Nkom. You are welcome, sir. We have with us the Director of Defense Space Agency, DSA, AVM, Oluwatoye Ibrahim. You are welcome, sir. We also have the rep of the Chief of Defense Staff. You are welcome. We have with us our most able partners, GIS Transport and Icon GIS. GIS Transport here, Icon Geoinformation, sorry, is represented by Engineer Georges Gannon. And Icon Geoinformation is here represented by the Managing Director, Mr. Peter Rishin himself. You are welcome, sir. And we also have several other dignitaries. Our Liquid presenter today is the most distinguished academic, most distinct man and administrator, the former Director General of NIMET, Professor Abaka Sani Martin. Thank you, sir, for coming. The immediate past president of the Bafemi is here. Who in Lagos in 2019 said, Professor, we want you to be the president. I looked at him and said, well, how do we do this? He didn't tell me that I was going to be involved with so many things. And when I started calling him every now and then, he said, don't worry, to be fine. You're welcome, sir. And our father is always there with us. It was actually a great, and all the other dignitaries. I must not fail to mention the president of Joseph. That is our other body, because we belong together in the same special technology application. Samuel Dr. Steve Bishaka. You are welcome, sir. I want to especially thank GIS Transport. There is an aspect of our event that alone attracted a lot of attention. We call it map competition. For a while, we
I
not
want
been
to
having
something
it.
else.
And that event is big to inculcate interest and generate enthusiasm in our youth map makers. So this year, we are bringing it back, courtesy of GIS transport. And I want to appreciate them so much for that. We are here this morning to commence the 2025 International Conference Workshop on NCA and Nigerian Computer Education. NCA, as you may be aware, is the only professionally recognized body of map maker and GIS expert. Yes, it is the only professionally recognized body of map maker and GIS expert, as far as we know in Nigeria today. The association is poised to ensure that the tenets of mapping are sustained and brought to fruition in professionality in Nigeria. Cartography is the art and science of graphically representing geographic areas, typically on maps or charts. It encompasses the entire process of mapping, including conception, production, dissemination, and study of maps. Maps, no doubt, are relevant in national development as they provide essential spatial data and visualization for critical sectors, urban planning, resource management, infrastructure development, disaster management, and economic growth. Consequently, maps provide the requisite geospatial data for informed decisions, for managing complex environments, ensuring equitable resource distribution, and achieving sustainable development goals. In Nigeria, accurate maps are required to provide spatial data to support informed decision-making in relevant sectors such as agriculture, land management and land use planning, land resource management, the oil and gas industry, support for environmental conservation efforts, promoting tourism, managing disaster and emergency situations. In this way, accurate maps provide understandable, visualized data and information that are amenable to identify and provide solutions to contemporary issues of national development, eliminating justice by revealing disparities in resource distribution and access, as well as providing guides for informed choices, and consequently empowering stakeholders to make better decisions for a more equitable and sustainable vision. Where produced maps invariably reduce complexity by providing clear visual representations of current realities and future possibilities, guiding informed decision making at all levels of governance. The advent of geographic information system, global positioning system technologies and modular and recently artificial intelligence AI and consequent integration of all of these into a thematic team known as geoinformatics have further emphasized the role of map in our daily lives. No doubt, the outcome of all geospatial applications are usually maps complemented with charts and graphs. Therefore, accuracy of the final product is crucial. This is why we are advocating and striving for a regulatory body for map making in Nigeria, so that anyone intending to be involved in map making must go through the regulatory body and be certified to do so. Only those who are certified will have the legal right to make whatever category of map for whatever purpose, and indeed make maps that will provide accurate, reliable, and prevalent data and information for sustainable national development. As we strive in this direction, particularly in having the legislative base, we call on our friends and indeed all our authorities to support us in advancing this course of action. What I'm trying to say here, ladies and gentlemen, is that in Nigeria, the awareness of the role and the place of map in national development is still at the doorways, particularly at the decision-making level. They don't just understand what it takes to have accurate spatial data on the basis of which you are going to plan your development. And this has caused a lot of developmental crisis and disaster for us. People build places they are not supposed to build. You don't even know the disparity in resources where you have, where you're supposed to take from and bring to the other. And that whatever you do, you want to plan for, you must have the accurate spatial data. Because essentially, everything you do has a spatial component. Everything you do. The moment you wake up, you are planning your movement, it all has spatial component. And all these are better represented as the spatial data. And map speaks more than what is written down. So what we are trying to say here is that anybody who can, for now, operate a computer, you know how to manipulate correct draw, PowerPoint and all that, you can draw lines, draw whatever you want to draw, and at the end of the day, you call it a map. And that map misrepresents the situation, give you erroneous data and so much. And that map is used for whatever purpose. And you know what that means? It means that we are not planning on the basis of accurate data. And that's why we are advocating that it's time we all put our hands together to find a way to ensure that, as in other professional areas of endeavors, that map making too becomes a professional endeavor that is backed by a requisite legislation. And those who must be involved in it must be certified to do that. And there must be a body that will control whoever wants to be part of it to ensure that they have the required skills to produce map that can be used for planning and sustainable development. And this is what we are saying and what we are calling on all geospatial bodies to be part of. It doesn't matter. You don't have to have a degree in geography. You can have a degree in engineering. You can have a degree in computer science, in mathematics. But the important thing is that if you must produce a map, you should know how to do it. You should know the conventions. So if you have a degree in that and you don't have the basis there, you can go through the regulatory body and you be certified to be a certified map maker. So that whatever map, even if it's just a draft map that I don't display on television, it should be certified that this map was produced by so persons and certified to do so. The theme of the 2025 NCA conference is geospatial intelligence mapping for poverty alleviation and security management. The theme addresses contemporary issues of national development. The late paper, keynotes, addresses, plenary sessions, and the workshop to be answered in this very we address the sub-themes of the conference. A notable aspect of our conference that we come on the 9th of September, that is tomorrow, is the Nigeria Women in Cartography session. This session is devoted to the creation of awareness and promotion of professionalism in our female folks, generally, and in particular, in relation to the mapping sciences. This session started actually last year. We have a branch of NCA that we call Women in Cartography. And they have been doing very well since it was wrong. So last year in Mina, we decided that whenever we are having an event, there must be a special session devoted to women in cartography. And what is done is to bring notable women. They may not be into special science, they may not be geographers, but we want those women to come and speak to our women folk, particularly the young ones, the youthful ones, to let them understand what it is to work hard, to be a professional, and to excel in the field that you have found yourself, and what the tenets should be to ensure that you get to the top of what you are doing. So it doesn't really mean that it's only in cartography. So we call it Nigerian Women in Cartography. So we are having this session tomorrow, and I want to use the opportunity to invite all of us here as convenient as possible to attend it, and we find it very interesting. We have invited very notable women and very experienced professional women that will be talking and speaking to various aspects of the program that we have tomorrow. So you are cordially invited. I urge you all to keenly participate in various aspects of the conference, workshop, and AGM as you are sure to take away vital information, skills, and connections that will undoubtedly help in upscaling your service delivery collectively, individually, and as corporate entities. NCA will be presenting a communique with actionable recommendations to the government and relevant NDA as outcome of the conference. The association is also committed to offering its professional expertise to support resolution of identified issues, extending its impact beyond the conference. Permit me at this point to express my profound gratitude to the National Executive Council of SCA and the local organizing committee for their commitment, diligence, and unflinching devotion that have brought us to where we are today. Thank you so much. It's been awesome doing this together. And thank you also, thank you to the entire family of NCA. Once again, thank you all for coming, and do sit back and ensure that the takeaways from this conference are enriching and worthwhile. God bless you. God bless NCA. God bless Nigeria.
You can start his voice.
In a nutshell, he made mention of the fact that mapping is very strategic, especially for planning and sustainable development. Our distinguished ladies and gentlemen, very quickly, before I invite for him to declare this all-important function open, because we all are charged and ready to continue with the conference, I would like to very quickly recognize and acknowledge the presence of the president and members of the Geo Information Society of Nigeria. Please a round of applause for them. Again, we also like to recognize the presence of all the members of the state chapters of the Nigerian Cartographic Association. Please a round of applause for them. Our distinguished ladies and gentlemen, one of the high points
Check it.
distinguished ladies and gentlemen, like I said earlier, that most of us are fully charged and ready to continue with the conference. But then we just have to declare the conference open. And that privilege, that honor,
Thank you.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم صلى الله على سيدنا محمد to representing your own revelation of science is that's what I'm sure you love the spirit. And our distinguished Director General here, the chairman of the Mission Commission, our distinguished science chiefs, every representative here, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We thank Almighty Allah for God's life and plan. We share the importance and significance of this subject that is being organized by the Nigerian Ethnographic Association. I want to tell you personally that naturally mapping is my Lord, because right from Nigerians in Nigerian Defense Academy, I used to love mapping is my God. I don't believe that subject. If I can fail in another subject, I will not never fail mobility. And this event followed me after I got commissioned and became an officer in Nigerian Army. I was opportune to go for a course in America, my first outing. And there is guys usually do point-to-point mobility as to be sure my science is very much aware. I discovered that all my colleagues that I was in the course together, either they have problem of eyesight or mentally not connected. Anytime we go out for mobility in the night, most especially, we call it point to point. We go up where we want to go in the daytime, in the night you are to walk it. So yes, the mobility is a natural being. I don't even prepare anything. I just walk the compass and the bearings and the way we go. As we reach our first point, my police will be searching left, right, center. But I was at the point here. How do you start to go there? No, naturally, if you are going out from operating, you have to count your space. The way you walk. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 100. Because it's stated in the map that from point A to B, it will take you 100 or 200 bases. So I put that on back of my mind, and then I'm walking. I'm going to counting. I don't need to look, I just said the point. So we are doing that one. And even my second out in India, the same thing happened. Indians, you know, they go with the eyesight too. You don't see much. I was leading the team, and to tuberculose all this natural gift in me. When God is giving mercies, brought me to this stool, to the king. Most say that the main issue that disturbed them most in the palace is the hungry adjustment between a community and another community. I always interfere, I always intervene, I always arbitrate between one village and the other. So the time NCA were to conduct event, this type of conference in Nigeria. I was so much interested that I must attend because that being my girl. So I attended the conference just out of like for subject of mobility. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, anytime I hear an event of this nature, I drop every other thing I have to do and then attend and bless it. So I really assure you that all those who are being invited and selected to deliver keynote address will do a very, very well on this subject, and they will go home very happy with a lot of knowledge, because no knowledge is actually small for anybody. When you sit down here for 1 hour, 2 hours listening, definitely before you leave, you must be actually getting something in your head and mind. So I actually appreciate the management of NCA and all those who have contributed one with the other to holding this conference. May God the Almighty guide us through, give us the strength and wisdom to pilot affairs of this particular conference. And also on behalf of the Honorable Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, I'd like to take this opportunity to declare this conference open.
Please, our father deserves a standing ovation and a sounding round of applause. That was a very powerful one there by His Royal Highness, the Esu of Nupe, Alhaji Dr. Yaya Abubakar. There is a saying that once a soldier, always a soldier. But there is a recent trend, my father, that most kings now are from the military setting. There is a transition, sir. And like some of us who are princes, sir, I don't know whether we still have to go through the military before we occupy the thrones of our forefathers. Maybe I'll meet you for consultation later, sir. Please, it deserves another round of applause for that. He made mention of the fact that mapping is in his blood. Please take note of it. The mapping is in his blood. And then one of the points of interest, as far as he is concerned, is the fact that we always have had these instances of communal crisis. And I'm telling you the solutions. One of the ways you can provide solution to issues of communal crisis is proper mapping. So it is very, very important, meaning that cartographers are very important ingredients to the stability of any nation state. Please, a round of applause for him again. Our distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we would like to crave your indulgence to alter our program slightly to accommodate some issues. So we're going to move straight into the first segment of goodwill messages, after which we'll have group photograph, and then some very important VIPs here in our midst can take their leave. Then we'll now reorder and continue from where we stopped. So at this point in time, I have the singular honor and privilege for the first segment to invite for his goodwill message the Chief of Defense Space Administration. He is Air Vice Marshal Oluwatoyin Ibrahim. Please, a round of applause for him. Please keep clapping, keep clapping, keep clapping. Then after him, please the Hydrographer General of the Federation to get ready, because it's going to be the next. You're highly welcome, sir.
The representative of the Honorable Minister here present and the Director General, National Space Research and Development Agency, my brother, I will call him Prof. Adepoju. Your Royal Highness, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, please permit me to stand on the existing protocol. It gives me a great pleasure to extend warm greeting on behalf of officers, soldiers, and civilian staff of the Defense Space Administration to the Cartographer Association of Nigeria on this occasion of your 46th Annual International Conference and Workshop. This gathering of distinguished cartographers, geospatial experts, policymakers, and academia is a testament to the critical role of mapping and geospatial sciences in shaping sustainable development in our great country. Cartography remains the backbone of informed decision-making, urban planning, environmental management, and national security. In line with this, the Nigerian Cartographic Association has been a very key in synergizing efforts of map making and GIS data visualization professionals towards improving national security. Additionally, the NCA has been effectively championing cartography and fostering collaboration among professionals as well as institutions in Nigeria for nearly 5 decades. I therefore commend the effort of the NCA in this regard and in exploring modern skill, knowledge, and opportunity for individuals with requisite knowledge and relevant agency to take advantage of the global integration of geospatial technology in addressing the contemporary security challenge defining our great nation. The 46th Annual International Conference of NCA with the theme Geospatial Intelligence Mapping for Governance, Poverty Alleviation, and Security Management presents an opportunity to exploit cutting-edge innovation, share best practice, and strengthen partnership that will drive Nigeria's geospatial technology forward. The NCA's contribution in advancing geospatial technology and the theme of this annual international conference align with the Defense Space Administration's mandate, which is to leverage space and mapping capabilities for enhanced national security. Accordingly, the Defense Space Administration recognizes the indispensable role of cartography and geospatial intelligence in safeguarding Nigerian national security and territorial integrity. Therefore, the DSA will align. Let me repeat this again. Therefore, the DSA will continue to align with the NCA's aspiration and provide the necessary support in achieving its goals. As we navigate a rapidly changing world, I urge the NCA and its members to continue pushing boundaries, leveraging cutting-edge technologies, big data, and participatory mapping to democratize access to spatial information. Let us also prioritize capacity building for young cartographers to ensure sustainability of this vital profession. On behalf of this DSA, I commend the NCA leadership and organizing committee of this annual conference for their unwavering commitment in putting this landmark event together. I would equally like to extend my sincere gratitude to all contributors and supporters who work tirelessly to ensure the successful holding of this conference. Once more, congratulations to us all, and God bless you all. Before I drop the mic, I want to attest to His Royal Highness assertion when it comes to mapping. Mapping and the military are one and equal, because you can't do anything without the situational awareness of where you are going, and your objectives. Awareness of the bull's eyes. And thank you for that, sir. Thank you for promoting us. Thank you for supporting the armed forces of Nigeria, and God bless you all.
I was yet powerful by the Chief of Defense Space Administration, Air Vice Marshal Ibrahim. Our distinguished ladies and gentlemen, like I said earlier, wisdom in what I'm seeing today. The first thing is acknowledge the presence of his landlord. Why is it happening that way? The Defense Space Administration, whether you like it or not, is here on campus of National Space Research and Development Agency. And like I said earlier, if you have a very cordial relationship with your landlord, just consider everything done. But imagine that he was making reference to the DG NASDAQ, and the response of the DG was not cordial. You know what it means. So it is a word of wisdom. Please, he deserves another round of applause. Our distinguished next online for a goodwill message is the representative of the hydrographer of the Federation. Please, representative of the hydrographer of the Federation. Please, a round of applause for him. You're very welcome, sir.
The Honorable Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, ably represented here today by the Director General, Chief Executive Officer, National Space Research and Development Agency, Your Royal Highness, the Esurufe, Alhaji retired Major General Dr. Yahya Abubakar, the Chief of Defense Space Administration, representative of the Chief of Defense Staff, the heads of ministries, departments, and agencies, distinguished keynote speakers, other dignitaries, and other protocols duly observed, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum. The Assistant Director Survey, National Hydrographic Agency. I'm here representing the hydrographer of the Federation and Chief Executive Officer, National Hydrographic Agency, Rear Admiral Ayo Olubode. So this goodwill message I'm going to present is for him. When you hear I, it's not this little man standing before you here, but it is the Rear Admiral speaking. Thank you, sir. It is a distinct honor you at this 46th Annual International Conference, Workshop, Annual General Meeting, Nigerian Catholic Association. I wish to commend the leadership of this man. Take this important platform, national problem, and knowledge. The chosen field, geospatial intelligence, mapping for governance, poverty alleviation, and security management, is both timely and strategic. It highlights the central role of mapping and geospatial intelligence in addressing Nigeria's contemporary challenges in unlocking new pathways for sustainable development. At the National Hydrographic Agency, we are fully aligned with this vision. Our mandate of charting Nigeria's maritime domain through hydrographic surveys, nautical publications, and up-to-date electronic and paper charts directly contributes to safe navigation, maritime security, and port development.
By providing accurate geospatial data of our waterways, the National Hydrographic Agency underpins the growth of Nigeria's blue economy, supporting shipping, fisheries, offshore energy, tourism, and environmental stewardship. Just as cartography provides the foundation for land-based planning and governance, hydrography also provides the bedrock for maritime safety and economic prosperity at sea. Our work ensures that Nigeria's waters are not only navigable and secure, but also positioned as engines of trade, investment, and national development. For instance, last year, the National Hydrographic Agency unveiled a revised national charting scheme, an ambitious project aimed at charting the entire Nigeria's maritime domain, including the exclusive economic zone, coastal approaches, inland waterways, and strategic water bodies across the country. In June this year, the West Africa Regional Office apologies for the interruptions. In June this year, the West African Regional Office of the International Center for Electronic Navigational Chart, that's the ICENC, was unveiled, and it will be domiciled at the National Hydrographic Agency's national headquarters. These are landmark achievements set to revolutionize the conduct of hydrographic surveys and charting in Nigeria and the entire West African sub-region. The National Hydrographic Agency, through its various services, stands as a strategic enabler of Nigeria's blue economy and sustainable development. So these services include, there are quite many, but I'll just pick one or two to mention. Provision of primary data for the construction of maritime facilities for improved maritime trade, development of fishing activities in Nigeria through identification and charting of areas for conservation of fish stock, identification and charting of marine protected areas for proper monitoring by law enforcement agencies to enforce fishing ground, fishing prohibited areas, etc. We also produce charts for atmospheric modeling, charts for data protection, coastal areas for maritime disasters, storm surges, and sea level rise, and a host of several other charts that we provide. Beyond this, through our charting efforts, Mr. Chairman, Nigeria has so far contributed 85,385 square kilometers of bathymetric data to the General Bathymetric Chart of the Ocean, the GEPCO 2030 project of the United Nations. As we gather to celebrate this distinguished group of experts and practitioners, I reaffirm the National Hydrographic Agency's commitment to collaborating with the Nigerian Hydrographic Association and all stakeholders. Together, with the power of mapping and geospatial intelligence, we can chart a course towards a safer, more prosperous and sustainable future for our nation. On this note, I congratulate the Nigerian Cartographic Association on the successful hosting of this conference and wish all participants fruitful deliberations. Thank you and God bless. So before I leave, permit me to also make a very small remark concerning His Royal Highness, his relation to the art of mapping. His Highness not only contributed to that area, but he has also bequeathed to the nation a very capable son who is also a colonel in the Nigerian Army, presently contributing to the war against terrorism and other international security issues. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Please, he deserves another big round of applause. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, just before I invite for a goodwill message, let me, the third person on the roll, let me very quickly recognize the presence of the Director General of the National Population Commission, Dr. Telson Osifo. Please a round of applause for him. You are highly welcome, sir. Our distinguished ladies and gentlemen, next for a goodwill message, I have the singular honor and privilege to invite the chairman of the National Population Commission, Honorable Isa Kwara. Please a round of applause for him. Keep clapping, keep clapping, keep clapping. Sir, you have 1.5 minutes.
Thank you very much. Well, maybe just for half a minute, let me say this. Your Royal Highness, we are saddened by what happened in Mokwa last time. But at the National Population Commission, we were able to do some study and were able to work on the areas and the number of people affected by that. We have a scan and we have to display the data that we have for this. It will be interesting to have a look at it so that with the government of Niger State, we'll be able to provide some support to those affected. The Home Minister of Innovation Science Technology, will be represented by my dear brother, the DG of NASDA, Dr. Matthew Adepoju, Your Royal Highness, all other participants, especially the president who has invited us here, president of the Nigeria Cattle Association, the members of the Cattle Association, the esteemed guest speakers, panelists, delegates, all other heads of government agencies, the DG, Defense Space Administration, the President of the Information, all other stakeholders. It's my pleasure to be here on behalf of the body of federal commissioners, 37 of them, and the Director General who is there, to be here with you today as one of the distinguished speakers at this 46th Annual International Conference, Workshop, and Annual General Meeting of the Nigerian Cartographic Association. I extend my heartfelt appreciation to the National Executive Council of the NCA for the esteemed recognition and invitation and for the opportunity to address this distinguished gathering. The theme of this conference, the special intelligence mapping for governance, poverty, education, and security management, is very out. And it is quite timely and resonates with the mandate of the National Population Commission. As the Commission charged with the responsibility of generating accurate, relevant, and timely demographic, socioeconomic, and geospatial data for the census to support national planning, the population management and sustainable development. We recognize the transformative power of cartography, geospatial sciences and intelligence, and geographic information systems, GIS. These tools are indispensable in addressing critical challenges related to governance, poverty alleviation, security management, which are central to Nigeria's sustainable development goals.
heavily on geospatial technologies to map population dynamics, monitor socioeconomic trends, and support evidence-based policy making. From delineating reservation areas, primarily for census and surveys, to now visualizing demographic data for sustainable development and planning. Data for sustainable development planning. Our work exceeds the pivotal role of census taking in ensuring that no one is left behind Nigeria's quest for inclusive growth. Also, the deliverables and the derivatives from the NPC's geospatial data repository covers a wide range of areas, several sectors of the economy. This conference provides a vital platform to further harness information, share skills and expertise in all these technologies to tackle these pressing issues of poverty, insecurity, and governance. The top themes highlight the multifaceted application of geospatial technology, for instance, mapping for economic empowerment and rural development can guide targeted interventions to uplift vulnerable populations. Similarly, geospatial intelligence for national security and disaster risk management can enhance our preparedness and response to emerging challenges. I commend the Nigerian Cartographic Association for its commitment to advancing cartography and related sciences since its establishment in 1978. Your efforts in promoting mapping and GIS as tools for national development have not gone unnoticed. Diverse range of activities planned for this conference, such as technology sessions, workshops, women in cartography, innovative and sensitization campaigns in schools, catching them young to build up their interest, demonstrates your dedication to fostering innovation, collaboration, and public awareness. These initiatives align seamlessly with MPC's vision of providing much needed data to drive reforms and the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as we all converge here nationally to actively participate in the discussions, share knowledge and experiences, and forge partnership and collaboration that will drive actionable outcomes, and join all of us to use this conference as a catalyst to translate ideas into practical solutions that address governance challenges, alleviate poverty, and enhance security across the entire nation. Together, we can build a future where cartography, geospatial sciences, and data empower and informed decision making and foster sustainable development for the progress of all Nigerians. MPC is proud to be associated with the Nigerian Cartographic Association. We remain committed to strengthening our partnership with the NCA to advance Nigeria's sustainable development goals and reforms as ensuring the renewed hope agenda. From today till the end of the conference, we will showcase just a snippet of our special resources, which can be further analyzed and improved on to serve the wide range of multi-sectoral users. I invite you all to visit the MPC stand at the exhibition area and In conclusion, I thank you for this opportunity and I wish you success in your future endeavor using skills and lessons to be acquired from this impactful conference, make positive changes in our sphere of influence. Thank you for your kind attention. God bless the Graphic Association of Nigeria. God bless the fellow of you. Thank you very much.
Give themselves another round of applause. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the well-being of our leaders is very, very important for us. And that is why we have decided now that having sat for more than 1 hour now, I would like our leaders to at least stretch their legs. And the only way we can achieve that is when I invite them here for a group photograph. So please, I would like to invite our VVIPs for a group photograph, after which we'll continue with the other segments of the program. Please, group photograph. Please, immediately after the group photograph, we're going to have the keynote lectures, and then we'll have other items that we have on our agenda, very, very important. And like you all know, our royal father is here, and he's interested in the keynote lecture. So we all are expected to stay back. It's very important. The reason for the photograph now is because I would like us to stretch our legs. It's very important.
My voice is on fire. Jesus. Let me plug that in. Let me plug it in. Oh, I don't.
Immediately after the group photograph, we are all expected to retire back to our seats. We are all expected to retire back to our seats so that we can have the keynote lecture. Very, very important. And like I announced earlier, our goodwill messages are going to be in segments. So we just finished the first segment. At least with what you can see now, we are done with the group photograph, and you can see our leaders stretching their legs, stretching their arms, which is very, very important. It is more or less like the routine, so we can just continue from where we stop. Please, while our leaders are exchanging pleasantries, we're all expected to be comfortably seated as we move to the next item on our agenda. Please, shall we be comfortably seated? Shall we be comfortably seated while we prepare Engineer Georges Ganem, who is expected to come up here to give us his keynote address. Then immediately after Engineer Georges Ganem, we're going to have Mr. Peter Ritchie. Then immediately after Mr. Peter Ritchie, we're going to have Professor Sani Marshall. Please. Please, immediately after the ceremonial aspect of the conference, then we can have enough time to exchange pleasantries. We are all expected to be seated, please. Very importantly, so that we can continue. Remember, we are behind schedule. Please be comfortably seated. Our distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at this point in time, we have our keynote speaker, Engineer Georges Kanem. Engineer Georges Kanem. But before I give him the opportunity, he is the general manager of GIS Transport. For time constraint, I may not go through his citation. So he's going to move straight to his keynote presentation. Please, a round of applause for Engineer Kanem. A round of applause for him, please. Thank you, sir.
Mr. DG, Royal Highness, I'd like to adopt the set protocol. My name is Engineer Jordan. I'm the GM of GIS. I remember coming to Nazareth in 2005. I met Professor Borofis and Dr. Abaji and my friend now, Dr. Akinide. We started first providing satellite image, high resolution satellite, 50 centimeters and 40 centimeters from geolight. And I remember it took some negotiation with the Americans to allow us to get these satellites. We also helped in establishing the NCRS, the National Remote Sensing in JOS. And we installed also the PCI Geomatica 10, where we trained most of the staff who became directors of Aegis. I can meet with them everywhere in Nigeria in this industry. In Aegis, in the transformation of Abuja Geographic Information System, we were the consultant of supplying the first satellite image to the FCT then. And if you watch long time ago the documentary, I will feature in it with my friend Roland de Klaus then, and the Emir of Nasarawa now. So we launched this project, and Aegis become what it is. And of course, later on, we bought our own airplane to provide 7 centimeter orthophoto aerial photography. And we have a plane now in Abuja. We did many states. We mapped many states, high resolution. We use this layer usually in land information system. Our company was established by Dr. Kamal Azar. In 1999, we came to Nigeria. He is a PhD from MIT and is a professor of GIS in the American University of Beirut. I'm telling you this because to tell you how committed we are since 2000 in the GIS industry and what we did in all the states that we worked in. We did roughly 9 states. We are currently also in all the states, Gombe, Nasarawa, Niger, Guara, many of them. And many of these states now are being upgraded to the latest software in land administration and geospatial information. Okay, next. Okay, now I want to tackle this issue of poverty alleviation with a different perspective. We have the population of Nigeria is 237 million. Let's exclude Lagos and Abuja. Go to the next slide, please. You are left with 225 million. Let's assume an average of 7 persons per family. You have around 32 million homes or families or dwellings.
The average number, I visited most of the states and I met with all the Ministry of Lands. And the average number of files in the Ministry of Land is 80,000 files. And not all of them have COOs. Not all of them have COOs. I want to consider that all of them, they have COOs. So the total number of files is 3.5 million files for 32 million homes. And according to Safer Project, from 2012 to 2024, it is less than 25% of this number. So let's give an example of Quora, or it is like 5,005 over 30,005. Next slide, please. Okay, what is the insight that we can get of all this rough data? I'm not going into accurate data. Only 10% of the population on land. This is according to the best scenario, because sometimes the number of families is less, and the five have less CO2. And we know there is no scarcity of land. Land is abundant in Nigeria. Next slide. Allocate land, you alleviate poverty. So this is the main theme that I want to talk about. All other experts will talk about how you have the command and control center, GIS, geospatial. They will talk about many benefits of how to use geospatial to help the military or the security, geospatial to help socioeconomic alleviation. But I want to talk how, when you can alleviate poverty. Next, please. You have a room of 30 million plots to be allocated. When you create an oversupply of land, the price will go directly down. Now land is not expensive anymore. Everybody can get land. And when you unlock the potential and the economic potential of this land, you can go to assignment, mortgage, development, and directly you increase the IGR of the state. Ground rent, property tax, tenement rate, and building fees, they will directly imagine when you are empowered, the state is revenue is 10x, and most of the communities who really own the land at the beginning, they are being allocated. No need for community general when you don't know where your land is. So you have to allocate individually the land and get all the benefits. Land ownership is a social cultural stabilizer. Land ownership reinforces national identity and belonging to the state and nation. Criminal organization and terrorism will not find an easy environment to recruit and infiltrate when between landowners or when you have this kind of development happening in the society. Okay, now I want to disclose something that's going on now in Nigeria, and we've been meeting with many of these stakeholders. There's a presidential titling initiative, and at the head of this initiative is the Federal Minister of Housing, Honorable Dan Giwel, and the Director of Land of Federal Ministry of Housing, the OSCO also is involved, World Bank and Saber Project are involved. This presidential titling initiative will be announced maybe soon enough because it's being under study and it is being restructured and structured. Okay, you need an infrastructure when you want to allocate 30 million plots. You need an infrastructure to be able to accommodate this and automation and the digital transformation of the Ministry of Land using GIS and automation. Why I say, you know, now the use of GIS is being generalized. They say, do you have GIS? Some ministry will buy 10 computers, install ArcGIS, take some Google Map imagery. Whenever a visitor will come, they'll say, okay, we have the GIS, but the ministry is still analog. Okay? If you want to process a CFO, if you want to take a picture, you go to the GIS. If you want to process, you're still analog. So, structure used in Nigeria. Some of them politically created the GIS agency and kept the ministry analog. Some of them, they put the GIS under the ministry. Okay, you go in this room and do whatever you do, but don't interfere with us. Some of them want, when they established the GIS, the first opponent photo and make him sign. Unless he signs, it's not legal. So instead of bypassing the Surveyor General Office and creating a parallel system where I'm seeing it everywhere in Nigeria, whenever we are frustrated of the civil service, we create a parallel system. Why? We don't want to confront the civil service. Okay, so this is very wrong. If you want to, please, if you want to really make, you have to elevate the civil service to a technical level. The capacity building is the main thing. And who is more adapted to take care of GIS than the Surveyor General? They know AutoCAD, they know they have the rover, they have their coast station, they have their differential GPS, they know how to do everything. Why you don't transform this unit and this surveyor to handle the GIS? So my approach, and now what we did in Prague, and in many states, we are changing this approach, is to digitally transform the whole ministry, not to create parallel ministries. You cannot create parallel agencies because you're frustrated of the civil service. The civil service is important, it is there by law, and they can start the first step right away. Where if you bring a new and a laptop and tell him, he will, first, security of data will be breached, and he will not be able to replace the civil service. I come from a civil service, I'm an engineer, and I have a master's in data analytics. I've been into London School of Economics for public policy analysis, and I believe in the civil service. Because the Land Use Act of Nigeria of 78, it works. And implementing it, the ministry, the laws are in the ministry, they work. But what do you need now is to transform the ministry into a digital ministry. Streamline the process. Empower the town planner, the deed, etc. So stop creating GIS agency on the side. We need to transform digitally the ministry. Please, let's go. Because I skipped many things when I'm talking to this. Okay, first, this is like a ministry agency organogram. Next, please. Next. Okay, the solution. How do you approach this kind of digital transformation? How do you transform a ministry? First, you have to set a project management team. Of course, you need an external consultant contractor. I know that usually ministry, they don't like this, and they want to do things on their own because they say, okay, we know how to do it. It's like, my defense is, it's like telling the Ministry of Works, buy your own bulldozers and asphalt and do your work. You cannot do this. Sometimes you have external contractor and consultants to be able to set up the environment, not to do the work. When I took charge of the company, the first thing I said, I visited all our sites. I said, we don't process anything in the ministry. The civil service will process. We are only to create the environment, set up the ICT infrastructure, set up the softwares, providing scanning, digitizing everything. So we have the public management, software platform, ICT infrastructure, capacity building, which is very important, geospatial, data migration, organization structure, and revenue optimization. What we are doing all this? Okay. ministry that we go. Next, next, next. So it is about courses, about elevating the civil service. And okay, so we're going to geospatial services. We provide the orthophoto, course station, mandatory subscription to the Survey General Office. And okay, next. Okay, so this is from Ilorin, the cadastral map of Ilorin. Next. So these are the billing zones. Each zone has a rate. Once you delineate this rate, it will be extracted into the bill. You can query it from anywhere else. Next. These are the parceling. Look, this it is not very clear, but it will give you like the percentage of unparceled. Once you finish all these files, it will give you the percentage of unparceled, and you can start digitizing and sending surveyors, etc., to generate more plots. Next, please. Migration, data capture, archiving. Next. Okay, this is how we do our data capture. Camera directly into the software. You don't scan and query the file just put it on the server with no ability to query. Next, please. This is the QR file, so you can track it whenever the location. Next. Next. Okay, this is like, okay, next please. The ministry, this is a typical ministry. Next, this is how we capture the workflow. How the file will start, which department it will go through, what are the needed signatures, and at the end, what is the outcome. So once we go into a ministry, we capture all this flow, then we transform it into an automation process. Next, please. Next. Property registration, revenue, property registration, allocation of land. When you allocate land, you alleviate poverty. When you give people land, it is their own land, and you will create more opportunity. Next, please. So this is the final product, the CFO, that is generated from our software. Next. Next, please. Okay, so this is a workflow configuration. I'll give you like some snapshots about what I'm talking, what is the software about. You start by customer service, then vetting unit, then survey and GIS, then town planning, director of land, production, billing, CFO printing, and deed register. So all this process is automated. Please go through next through the slide. Okay, so here there's a relation. This is the customer service, and you see the customer service in the building. Okay, in the side map. So this is the interface where instead of applying in a document, they will apply directly your application. Next. FTMO, this is the file tracking management system. Next. Vetting unit, this file will reach to the vetting unit. They can see the documents, the EDMS, they can check the authenticity of the documents and approve or disapprove. Next. The survey GIS, they will enter the coordinates, they will check it on the orthophoto. If it fits, they will approve. If it doesn't fit, they will reject and or resurvey. Next. Next. Town planning, of course, a copy of the request will go to town planning. They can go with their tablet, visit, write the report, which is systematic report. Then the town planner will approve. Then next, it will go to director of lands. After director of land will check the file on his system, it will go to next, production. Production is the final step when you block match. You have an area, you have a rate, you have everything. The production, next. Then after production, you have the billing. You can generate any kind of bill. And you can compute the arrears according to bracket. Next. Customer service, you convey all the relative information by customer service. Next, please. CFO printing. Next. Lead registrar. I'm showing you how it is. Next. Thank you.
That was indeed a very powerful keynote presentation. Please, it deserves another round of applause. At least he made mention of the fact that Nigeria has more than enough land. And you all will agree with this fact, that indeed we have more than enough land. Again, he made a very striking statement. He said, when you allocate land, you alleviate poverty. Please, it deserves another round of applause. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I said earlier that we're going to alter our program just to make it more interesting. So instead of taking the next keynote address, I would like to go straight to the lead presentation. We'd like to go straight to the lead presentation, possibly after the presentation. Then we'll now take the other keynote speech and then presentation of plaques. So I'd like to use this medium to lead, especially with our royal father here, and then our leaders here that just exercise patience, because that presentation is very important. And if you observe earlier too, our father here was paying keen attention. I believe with this presentation, sir, you pay more attention. So at this point in time, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I have the singular honor and privilege to invite our lead paper presenter. He is Professor Sani Abubakar Mashi. A round of applause for him. You are highly welcome, sir.
Okay, can we have the paper on display? While they are doing that, I want to say that the royal father of the day, His Royal Highness, the ASO, is it Kasana or maybe? The representative of the Honorable Minister, Chairman of the occasion, kindly permit me to stand on the existing protocol. Why is the paper delayed before it can be projected? Why is the paper? The secretary noticed some. No. Okay. Sorry for the delay. Like I said at the beginning, I want to stand on existing protocol, and because of limitations of time, I want to go directly. Please, can you just project it directly? The slideshow. The topic of my lead paper presentation is on the synergy among the spatial scientists in order to effectively promote the application of geospatial intelligence towards addressing three important issues that affect almost all nations. Governance, poverty alleviation, and security management. The next one, please. You see, this century, there are 3 technologies that have been moving the world. The biotechnology, which is modifying the food production system and promoting global security. The next one is the geospatial technology, which is about looking at examining, analyzing, evaluating what you have over the space in order to take important decisions. And then the next one is the nanotechnology, which is after the final particles, which is not defining the pace at which you are moving towards production of many nanotechnology products, the smart systems. These are the 3 things that are moving the world now. The progress we have achieved in the world now is due to the 3. Out of these technologies, the geospatial technology happens to be the only one that is having more impact on any other technology. You cannot be thinking of biotechnology when you don't know much about the space. And the major application areas of nanotechnology is actually towards surface space issues, navigation, estimation, identification, making accessibility and communication easy over the space. So meaning that with geospatial technology, the 2 technologies cannot effectively move. That being the case, and when you look at the major target of SDGs, you see that they are all revolving around geospatial data, geospatial science. You have to build geospatial infrastructure before you can achieve any the 15 goals. And then when you are planning, you need facts that are based on the reality of what you see on the ground. You can't act superficially. And then there is issue of transparency and openness. We cannot make progress if we are not transparent, if we are not open, if we are not mixing. So to do that, then it means we need to have an open system. And you can't be talking of open system if we are not working on space. The next one is the risk of occurrence of disaster within this century is like it is multiplying. So therefore, we need to challenge it. Without this, you can't make progress. And all of them, they are related directly to geospatial information. The next one. So as government are struggling with poverty, one fact has remained here now is that you cannot achieve any of the 3 without making good use of geospatial sciences. Why? Because geospatial scientists, they play a very, very important role, like I said, in decisions that are specifically tied to location. And that is where geospatial intelligence is coming in. It is a tool that will help you to take decisions. It integrates 3 things. It brings in the science, the technology, and the analytics in order to transform the way in which you take decisions. That being the case, then it means geospatial science is actually multidisciplinary, because when you are seeing decisions, taking decisions, bringing, having effective control over the space, many people are there over the space that are helping you in one way or another. So that being the case, then it means if they come together, you'll be in a better position to take decision. The next one, this is the empirical linkage here, like demonstrated. The 3, governance, security management, poverty alleviation, which are issues that are going to be touched by many of the papers that are going to be discussed here. All the items under each of the 3, you will discover that they are directly linked to geospatial intelligence. If you have effective control over geospatial intelligence, you will be able to have effective control over them. And look at the items that are listed under each. Whether you are mapping, whether you are trying to facilitate transparent governance, or whether you are targeting poverty, whatever you are doing, geospatial intelligence will come run away from it. The next one. Then, this geospatial science is not a single science. It is a collection of disciplines that are coming together. And I have produced a small diagram here to show that there are 8 principal sub-disciplines that constitute geospatial science. And I produce it as a spinning wheel, not as a hierarchy, to show that each and every one of them is important. They all have individual roles to play. And because they have all individual roles to play toward geospatial intelligence, then it means you cannot undertake geospatial intelligence working without making use of each and every one of them. The geographers are there, the climate scientists are there, the surveyors are there, the cartographers are there. So the next one, let's look at exactly what are the roles of each of these heads. Here we are starting with geography. Here, the next one. The next one. Okay, we are starting with geographers here. The thing we are saying, without geography, you cannot have the space, spatial information, because you have to understand the space before you even measure it. So that is why geography is far constitutes the foundation of the spatial science. The human geographers, they analyze the spatial pattern. The physical geographers, they analyze the human pattern. When you put them together, they give you insights about dynamics of human and physical features that happen over the space. You need to understand them before you can even model them. So even if you have the power to model, you have the power to measure, and you don't understand the base, then there will be a problem. So the two are very, very fundamental in geospatial intelligence. The next one, the remote sensing experts. These ones, what they are concerned with, they make use of technology, science and technology in order to gather information remotely. It can be satellite, photograph, it can be using drones or whatever. So the idea here now is we use them in order to help us and track and monitor changes. The product they are producing for us, which if they analyze, they can give us indication about changes that are occurring. At least on the surface, they can tell you this thing has changed, this one has not changed, this one has actually decreased, and this one has not. So, which means they are always very, very important, particularly if you are addressing issues like early warning, food security assessment, or environmental governance. The next one, we have the GIS specialists. These are the experts. They integrate various, the major contribution here, they integrate various virtual data sets that contain elements that will look differently on the surface. They integrate them together, address commonality, address association among these data sets so that they will produce new products. When they produce these new products, they will be able to give us finished product that will be able to enable us to take decisions. With advances in technology, Nigerian scientists are now going nuclear, to use this word, meaning that they undertake activities that hitherto were unimaginable. We're not thinking that they will be possible. AI is there, IoT, the Internet of Things, or cloud-based spatial platform. They are revolutionizing the way, the kind of activities that AI specialists are undertaking. The next one, cartographers and geometric engineers. These ones, they are the spatial engineers because they help us to reduce the entire world into a platform which we can easily visualize. And they design a number of maps, both of them static or dynamic, digital, interactive, and so on and so forth. And they represent very complex spatial data. I said their imprint and outprints are everywhere. There was something funny that happens. I was discussing with the former police commissioner of FCT, who happened to be a geographer. He said they were shocked. There was a time they went and raided a den of criminals in Pate. He said one thing they saw, very conspicuous, was a map of Abuja in their rooms, which they were eating and marking. They will go from here, they move here, they move. You will see even criminals, they don't even know maps. That is why I said the imprints and outprint cartographers are everywhere, even in case of criminals. Next one, surveyors and geodesists. These are specialists that provide accurate measurements of the Earth's surface. And this accurate measurements can have multiple applications which you can use. They also establish your spatial reference frameworks, which are very, very important, particularly in navigation and maybe the military area, and in geometric analysis. In land administration of the land, with the previous speaker talked or infrastructure development or boundary management, you can't do it without surveyors. They are very, very important. So therefore, they are very, very critical as far as governance, conflict resolution are concerned, or issue of resource security. The next one, you have the spatial statistician. These are also your spatial scientists. They make use of knowledge of mathematics. Okay. Spatial econometrics, predictive modeling, and simulation in order for them to be able to analyze and focus. So meaning that their contribution is they are bringing thematics into the spatial sciences. That is the science of the mathematics into this. So, and then this kind of information they produce can be very, very fundamental in decision making, whether you are talking of poverty, spiritual, or environmental check. Through this, you could be able scenario-based risk market for assessment can be carried out using the product they produce. The next one, and then the planners. Planning, if it is specifically linked to space, can be very, very fundamental. Therefore, because you cannot effectively plan if it is not linked, if you don't make it to have spatial orientation. So geospatial planners are important element of the geospatial science, because what they do is they make use of geospatial intelligence they gather in order for them to design, especially as cities are now going smart, a response particularly challenges that are now occurring, particularly issues related to climate change, or even only trying to take decision on issues related to annotation over and over space. The next one, environmental planners and climate scientists, they are very, very important because they provide data, which is very, very important in decision making, especially if the data are taken, gathered within the spatial class. I would want to relate my experience here with when I was Director General of a Nigerian Meteorological Agency. One thing I was unable to achieve is integrating the raw work of meteorology, my meteorologists, with the cartographers. One thing we do in NIMET, we produce weather and climate services information, particularly in maps, which we produce daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, and an annual basis. When you look at the finished products we produce there, you discover that there are always gaps. The cartographic appeal, the sharpness, the cartographic component of those particular products, they are a little bit weak. That goes to show that climate science can best be promoted if you make use of spatial science effectively. Because when you produce a map and the map is not communicated, you have gathered so much to produce the map and the map is not communicated, then it means it becomes a problem. So that is why a very good climate scientist can be an important contributor to your spatial intelligence. There. The next one. Here is a diagram that is showing that the work of the various geospatial scientists is intricately linked. Because if you are talking of poverty, agricultural innovation, monitoring SDG, or assessing the infrastructure and services, there is just no way you can do it without geospatial scientists. When you move away geospatial scientists from this, you will not be making the movement, but there will not be, you will not be making motion, there will not be any movement. That is not the import of this, because whatever company you are looking at, geospatial scientists, they need to come in. The next one. Here, why this geospatial scientists, why they need to synergize? One is geospatial data development, that's database development. Before you can even make a progress, you need to have a database. I'm happy the last speaker is talking of creating a database, because you can't be talking of one administrator when you have the data. You don't have the database. So therefore now, for you to be able to develop the database, you need input of multiple experts. Remote sensing will be there, the surveyors will be there, GIS will be there, and so on. And then when you are trying to analyze in order to take decision, in order to develop products, definitely you need more than one of them to come in. No single geospatial scientist can have monopoly over it. And then whether at the end, when you produce the products and you want to take a decision over space, for you to be able to advise and say, this is what needs to be done, this is what should not be done, for governance to be effective, then it means multiple scientists to come in. The next one. So, yes, there should be challenges. What are the problem challenges of synergy in the country? Yes, when NASDAQ started in 1999, the vision of the founding fathers is that NASDAQ would like be a sort of an integrated platform for geospatial scientists to come in. The person after whom this auditorium has been named, this complex, Robert Ajayi started NASDAQ. He was never exposed to geospatial scientists. He was a biologist. But because he has appreciated the value of synergy, when he was building his teams, almost everybody was there. So, and there were 4 things specifically he did, which actually greatly helped to promote this synergy among the scientists, geospatial scientists. There was national geoinformation policy for the country. There, I was privileged to be part of it. My senior brother, Professor Akinyede, was part of it. Out of the 10 of us that were there, some were geographers, some were surveyors. Julia Alo was a chemist. Geologists were there and so on. The idea here now is you need multiple experts to come in for the policy to be developed. And then when it came to the NGDI committee, which was another major milestone that was initiated during this time, everyone was brought there, and then the NGDI was produced. And a very, very good document. It was taken to the executive council. It was approved. The problem here, not the implementation, not the problem. And then we used to have, I don't know, maybe it's still there. Now we used to have a technical advisory committee. Professor Oluloyo was chairing. Ingo Teme was also there. And so on. Teme was a geologist. Professor Oluloyo was a surveyor. That's what we show the diversity. Some of us there that have been taking part. Some belong to agriculture, some belong to geography, some belong to other various disciplines. And many other ad hoc assignments the agency has been doing, have been going to show that whenever now they want to do, now that they will go and put and bring multiple disciplines to come together. So through this way, now they have been able to integrate many of us to come together so that we work. The idea here now is Nigeria is a state. So that is the issue. And the next one. Then, however, one basic challenge, area of challenge, now we are now having now is the training. Because without adequate training, geospatial training has a problem in Nigeria. I'm just giving you an example now. The Nigerian university system, when you look at the curriculum, geospatial science, if you look at the CC they produced 2023, only recognize one course, surveying and geoinformatics, nothing else. Meaning that you can only do geospatial science if you are in survey. That's a big problem. There are no anywhere else. This is a very big challenge. And then when you look at the way geospatial science was defined in the CC mass, you will see that it has been defined from a very, very restrictive perspective. Geoinformatics is an integrated, this is in the NCA document, integrated process for mapping and geoinformation correction through supporting technologies of geodesy, photogrammetry, remote sensing, cartography, computer science, and administration. You can see the problem there, meaning that the actual role that geospatial science is supposed to be played is now defined within the narrow perspective of geoinformatics. So, and then what they said here now is that if you want to go and study geoinformatics in Nigeria now, if you can't get a survey, you can study it again. That is the challenge of it now. Prior to the coming of the DCC mass, the training is done in other departments. When you go into some other universities, you can pick it in other program. But now with this, it's like they are being, it has been now compressed into a single program. The next one. And then if you look at page 6 of the 2003, what this document is saying, it is trying to indict the surveyors. And you see when we ask them, they say it's surveyors that said that tell them to do this. But I don't know which surveyors. I don't want to believe that. They say to the surveyors that said this should be like this. Because look at it. Based on Nigerian law that set up professional body that is SOCON, which recognizes only the practice of surveying. So the tertiary institution operating surveying in Nigeria, blah, blah, have agreed that there should only be DSC surveying and geoinformatics. So what this one is saying is that they are saying they were advised by surveyors. And then the next problem here now is when you look at the entry requirement in the minimum academic standard, it is saying that for you to reach geoinformatics, you need mathematics, physics, and English language. These are the things you require. And any two, which means fine arts. If you have fine arts, there is something you started in SSC, like they call it data processing. If you have fine arts, you have credit in data processing. Even if you don't have any knowledge of geography, you can go and study bioinformatics. That is the problem. So which means by this now they are saying that you don't require geography, for instance, study bioinformatics, the next one. And then another challenge or synergy among your spatial scientists here now is in the implementation of NDDI. I'm happy my senior brother, Professor Akinyede, is there. When we did NDDI, we envisaged a situation that it would be implemented by a management council in which everybody will be there. But I don't really know. The emphasis now, somewhere something has happened. The former Director General officially of the NASDAQ officially wrote the association, seeking for support of the association to join NASDAQ, so that at least we can talk with the government so that this thing will be appreciated. Because the decision was being taken that NGDI should be hosted in the Surveyor General's office, meaning that it is actually a surveying problem. We try as much as we can to try to impress that, look, the concept of FDDI is that there should be a management council in which multiple disciplines will be there, so that we will not look at geospatial information from a narrow perspective. But unfortunately, because of problem of this synergy, the implementation, at least to the best of our knowledge, has actually stalled. And then let's look at what I was saying previously concerning the composition. Those that developed NDDI, that provided the blueprint for NDDI, they knew the importance of the synergy. That was why when they were composing, they composed it this way. The next one. So what is the way forward? It is obvious that there's a problem with the way geospatial science is being implemented in the country. There's actually a problem. The first important thing is getting the education and training rights. Let's look at it from a holistic perspective. It goes beyond just surveying. For instance, there are multiple things that are there as we define. And then professional egos, we need to eliminate it. Let us not come and say, yes, geographers, we are the only ones. Surveyors, we are the only ones. Most sensing, we are the only ones. Because we produce all the satellite data, therefore we are the only ones. Let's try and look at everyone as being very important, that is it. And then Geoson. When we started Geoson, I was the founding publicity secretary. Professor Olukodun Ayeni was our president, 7 of us, then the first council. The thinking of then was that your information society will now come and be the umbrella, so that all the other professions, sub-disciplines in geospatial science will come under. Meaning that it's a Geoson that will now be defining what cartographers should be doing, defining what others should be doing. The idea here now is so that at least we will learn to work together. That is the thinking of the Geoson, so that everybody will be there. So in other words, when the first executive council was being conducted, there were deliberate efforts. They considered this one should come from this side, this one should come from, because there was no election anyway. Multiple disciplines were brought in together in order to constitute the executive committee of Geoson. That is the issue. So the issue that needs to be done is geospatial intelligence units need to be created within government agencies because it's very important. Without this effective intelligence based on geospatial information analysis now, you will not be able to make progress. And then collaboration between the industry and this. I'm happy there are players in the industry here that are here. There is supposed to be effective collaboration so that effectively the progress they are making, they will move along with those that can do the training. So that at least the products that are being trained from the institution, when they come, they can easily fit into the agenda of the industry. And then the open data initiatives need to be leveraged. We tried that when our Director General met, so that at least the data will make it open. The challenge we are facing here now is the funding. Because of limited funding, we could not. Then the last one, the conclusion. So by way of conclusion, what we are now trying to say here now, what we have shown in the newspaper is that geospatial scientists play very important roles as far as advancing your information, your spatial intelligence is concerned, which is necessary for poverty governance, poverty alleviation, and security management. Why they do that is that because they can generate, they can analyze, they can translate spatial data into actionable knowledge. But before they can be able to do that, the interdisciplinary collaboration is there. Simply because I, as a geographer, I know how to draw map, does not automatically make me eliminate the need for me to bring in a professional cartographer. That is why the problem I say we are facing in Lamet is there. Whenever we raise a problem, when you look at it, the cartography appeal is not always there. Then we need to maximize these impacts. This impact of this collaboration. So as we need to support it, the political will, and then investment in your spatial infrastructure. I don't want to talk of government allocation. I'm saying investment because I want to believe that it is not just because that is the thinking of NDDI. It's not just the government that should fund NDDI. For instance, investment in spatial infrastructure and sustain collaboration among disciplines. When this are done, I believe that we'll be able to accommodate that. The next one. So thank you so much for listening.
Our lead presenter deserves a bigger round of applause. That was a very powerful one there, sir. And as if he knew, I was about coming to give you a note that be rounding up, but you were just on point. Thank you very much for that. Our lead presenter. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we're about to invite the third, or rather the second keynote speaker, but before then, I would like to make mention to, I would like to make reference to the fact that he said the world is moved by 3 technologies, bio, geospatial, and nano, and that geospatial is the only one that plays a very important influence on both the bio and the nano. It was indeed a very powerful one. At this point in time, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I would like to call on an experienced leader in GIS. He is Mr. Peter Ritchie. Nice. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please apologies for the breakdown in the transmission. At this point in time, we would like to make a very special presentation to our royal father of the day, that is the chairman, Traditional Council of the Niger State, His Royal Highness, Alhaji Dr. Yahya Abubakar. Please a round of applause for him. We are going to make this presentation special, after which the keynote speaker will come on board to make his presentation. And then while that is going on, our breakfast, even though in the afternoon, will be served. And then after the breakfast, we will also have our lunch. So it's going to be fast. Stomach infrastructure is assured here. So please bear with us. So at this point in time, I would like to invite the president of our dear association, the president, sir. And the president will be flanked by other members of the ESCO. They are going to make the presentation. But like I said earlier, please, our breakfast in the afternoon is being passed. Our lunch will follow immediately. We'll take care of you. But this special presentation must be done. Because our father is here. You know how to wash your hands very well. You know what it means. So I have the particular honor and privilege to invite His Royal Highness, the NCA of Nupe, NCA Nupe, Alhaji Dr. Yahya Abubakar. Alexander Manikaza.
Yeah, one of the next to the place and the chairman of it. Regional building council. It's a pleasure to always have you. And it is a special honor to have you with us and to present a token of our appreciation to you for honoring our invitation to be at the 46th National Conference of the Nigerian Cartography Association. Thank you for coming. Happy birthday, 70 years. But not in my own body. India should be here. There's no time we kill. And I wish you don't die here as well. You know, you're my don't go by. You bring you
the NCA, this time is distinguished invited guests. We must very much indeed grateful for this morning at the leaders and also the family member of this great association. And I continue to guide me among the strength and association. And we already distinguished invited guests that will come here. We wish you many blessings back to your respective institutions and the other continuing to peace, progress, and this kind. Thank you for all this.
Thank you very much. So, please, all of that distinguished guests will receive yours. Just let that go, then we round up. Thank you, please. Thank you very much. Okay, please. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you very much. So the rest of us will wait. Other guests together and they are back. Okay, let us sit down, please. So, Mr. Richie, please. Announcement. Thank you very much, His Royal Highness. We are very, very grateful. Not to mention that it seems to the end of it. Hopefully, the next 10 minutes, program for today is finished. I will just need to do after this class is another delicacy for us. And after that, we take tea. And after tea, we take some work to see the exhibition. So please, sir, the sir, she said, just 10 minutes, then we'll have done the program for today. Thank you very much. Thank you for your patience. Sir, we appreciate it. You're all a part of them. I'm very, very grateful and decided to stay behind this full presentation. The QR code on the screen, you can click on that, you'll get to the presentation itself. So, distinguished colleagues, fellow photographers, ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to take us on a journey, one that is not only technical, but deeply historical and personal. The maps we are about to explore are amongst the earliest cartographic records of Nigeria. Paper maps received by the British colonial administration in the 1800s and 1900s. And at first glance,
They may look like relics, faded paper, ink, odd place names, but they are much more. They are windows into how Nigeria was first surveyed, divided, administered, and in many ways imagined on paper. Over a number of years, I have visited the National Archives of Kew Gardens in London, searching for Nigerian maps. What began as a professional curiosity slowly grew into something of an obsession. I don't mind telling you, I recently spent 2 weeks at the in July, viewing hundreds of maps a day. When I returned back home here to Nigeria, I couldn't stop reading maps. Maps were just running through my mind every night I was sleeping, much to the frustration of my wife. The archives themselves hold extensive records dating back centuries, not only of the British Isles, but of all the colonial territories. Accessing them is, in theory, straightforward. Catalogue is online, you can book materials in advance, but in practice, it's a bit of a gamble. Many of these documents have not been opened since they were dispatched from Nigeria. In actual fact, I found myself to be the first person to see these maps for the first time. Anyone's viewed these maps since they were shipped decades ago. In the around 59, 60, 61, they were all shipped to the London archives. The process was exciting, sometimes frustrating, oftentimes consuming, but ultimately equally rewarding. And today I'm happy to share with you some of the results of these labels. So, when we look at the first map, this is Nigeria 1, dated 1834. I'm not going to speak to my presentation here. I'm just going to point out to you what the uniqueness of this map is. Firstly, it's dated Nigeria 1. So this was the first map recognized by the colonial authorities. What it does, it provides 2 surveys of now named Niger River and Benue. Back then, it was named the Kwara River and the Chata River, because the sources of those 2 rivers were assumed to be in the one hand Chad, and the other in Kwara somewhere. So we have 2 surveys here, on the left and the right. The one on the right was done earlier by a private survey company, and the one on the left by the Royal Navy. In the end of the day, the Royal Geographic Society recognized the survey completed by the Royal Navy. So this is the authoritative one on the left-hand side. So, can you believe it? 2 surveys of the same river system next to each other from 1834. And I laughed to myself because I think, you know, goodness, surveyors actually coming up with different coordinates, different projections. Not surprising, really. Because what you must consider when looking at these maps are the tools they were using and how they were collecting the data. So it's quite extraordinary what we can actually see from these maps. What makes these maps unique is not simply their age, it is their purpose and diversity. Exploratory maps, drawn to discover terrain already lived in by Nigerians for centuries. This is a typical colonial attitude, discovering lands which are occupied by people that have been living in those lands for centuries. Military maps showing routes, fortified positions, and even villages raised for resisting colonial occupation. Administrative maps fixing borders, naming places and imposing order for taxation and governance. Remember, the colonial system was all about making money. It's all about revenues and exploitation. Transport maps, rail lines, roads, and ports assigned to serve those extractive economies, and ethnographic maps attempt to categorize groups, languages, and land use. But before we go there, let's have a quick look at some much earlier maps. These two here from the 17th century. And here we can see the Gulf of Guinea coast all the way then down to around Angola, South Africa. And we can go closer into the Gulf of Guinea area. Here we see trading posts. Now, these were called factories. Now, because of the time that this map was created, it doesn't take much to actually equate a factory with where slaves were held prior to shipping to the Americas. So this is a damning indictment of colonial at its worst. So we don't have much time. I'm not going to dwell on these, but this is the darker legacy of cartography. Not only instruments of knowledge, tools of conquest and exploitation. So let us have a look at some of the initial British actions in Nigeria as preserved by cartographers. First map we see here is an outline map of the British territory in Lagos, dated 1865. It shows the extent of the colony at that time, surrounding territories carefully, almost ominously surveyed, evidence of plans to extend control further inland. It's a map not only of land, but of intent. Second, it's a sketch map of the town of Lagos, dated some 20 years later in 1884. It illustrates town plan layout. It indicates existing swamps and key administrative features. Many of these features remain visible today. If we can get a close-up of Tanibu Square. Can you imagine that Tanibu Square was named back in 1884? This map was attached to a report concerning a petition by the inhabitants of Lagos, most likely related to dispute with land rights. Beyond these examples, land use planning and land allocations formed a primary part of early colonial administration. Let's have a quick look at some of those other maps down there. So again, this is a snapshot of Lagos. And interestingly enough, it shows a lot of the reclaimed land areas, which you can see down here next to Victoria Island. So when you look at these sort of maps and you recognize the swamps that were existing at the time and the reclaimed land, it is no wonder that Lagos finds itself underwater every rainy season, because it came from, it was in the sea. So together, these maps actually show a shift from territorial claim to administrative reality. From Lagos as a foothold of the British Empire to Lagos and beyond being mapped, planned, and allocated urban and regional spaces. Let's move on to the next category, which I'm very pleased to see our members of the armed forces are still here. Military groups. The British were really hell-bent on making sure that they controlled the land. This was often undertaken by force. The Jebu-Odi expedition, 1892. One map here shows the route from the coast, carefully recording towns, terrain, movements of troops. The next one here, the next one shows the fortified positions. Can we zoom in? Designed to plan, execute, and justify a military campaign. Expedition map from 1899 is perhaps the most poignant example. Yes. Here, cartography reports not only the routes and positions, but also hostile villages burnt and destroyed. In this single phrase, we see the blunt violence of colonial warfare inscribed into geography itself. These villages are cultures, but for their destruction. Chilling reminder of the power of maps to erase as much as they reveal. This is storytelling. This is maps telling a story. They represent the cartography of conquest, where the pen and the compass work alongside the rifle and the cannon. They show us starkly our maps were not neutral scientific tools, but active participants in the expansion of the British Empire. 1913, in Lagos, was the yellow fever map. This remarkable document annotates travel routes, patients, and deaths in the city during a severe outbreak, where movements dispatched the border of the spread of disease, showing how health too could be understood spatially. And you'll note the tables, you'll note some of the notations. Again, the depth of information that cartographers were deploying then, it's actually quite extraordinary, because you must understand and recognize the difficulty of collecting the data, and then the tools that are used to actually create maps. Prof was talking about the quality of cartography and how it's so important in maps representing weather that he was doing now. Look at this cartography here. It's actually quite extraordinary, given that moment in time, the tools they had. Moving forward to 1948, we find detailed maps of health facilities across Nigeria. These show hospitals, clinics, medical stations, distributed throughout the country. They represent a shift from mapping destruction to mapping infrastructure, from conquest to care. They're still within the context of colonial governance. These health maps remind us that cartography has always been about life. One era, the life or death of villages marked as hostile or cooperating. In another, the life or death of patients during epidemics. In both cases, maps told the story. So the last chapter, to complete today's story, we're going to move forward into the 50s and early 1960s, the final decade of colonial rule and the birth of Nigeria as an independent nation. And what's really striking about this period of time is the sheer volume and the number of maps that the British produced. That was quite extraordinary across all sectors in high detail. If we can just run through a couple of these, please, just to show the extractors, other than all moved, taxed, and exported. And yes, it also became the foundation on which an independent Nigeria would build. This is the baseline knowledge which Nigeria, the nation state, inherited in 1960. Absolutely, one's tools of control became in time resources for nation building. Now, what I've just shared with you today represents only a small selection of the maps that I was privileged to have access to. I've literally got hundreds of maps. You know, when we're talking about, for example, the geological map, I've got maps of the cadastral, the mining cadastry from the 1930s, 40s, 50s, which are quite extraordinary in the level of detail. They cover regions, themes, and moments that I could not possibly address in a single presentation, and I'm rushing through this one. And I really do look forward to having the opportunity to speak to you all again about this. So to wrap up, lessons for cartographers. Maps are never neutral. They persuade, they justify, they sometimes condemn. An important note here, those who produce the maps control the narrative. Those that produce the maps control the narrative. Maps tell stories. Accuracy has limits. Colonial maps were precise in geometry, but biased in meaning. This is controlling the narrative. You place into the map the data and information that actually promotes your case. They're not neutral. And I think we touched on this, few of the speakers spoke on this issue. And the continuity of the issues, borders, land use, health, and transport remain central today. These maps were very complex emotions. I've seen some of the reactions to some.
One who to preside over this all important function. You have the floor, sir. First, General Christopher Musa, Chief of Defense Staff. Yes, representative of the CCF.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, We are now at the stage of presenting things. So I think it means that we'll be leaving us soon. And the first on the list is the chief of French Staff, represented by the head right master on the Dauda. We are very happy and honored to have you with us. The office of the seniors has always been with us 1 year, all our conferences. So it's a pleasure to see how you here and please share the video that love you and also permission. Thanks. From the first half by actually TZ Elder.
Oluwatoyin, CDSA, Chief of Defense Grade Administration. Very gallant officer. It's always there. Never must any time.
It's a rare privilege to present award. When we made in a contest this business, I think that was a very fun thing. It was something, the way he received us, and the way he also explored the Space Academy and NCA was wonderful. And since then, we'll be talking of hope. He's not just a friend, he's a brother to me and to NCA. So, sir, we are very happy to present this award to you and this certificate to commemorate the great of the yes, and you. Thank you.
Okay, tell me.
The next one is Professor Sami Abubakar Mashi. I think he went to this himself. Is here? Okay, welcome, sir.
Good, yeah, thank you.
Gratitude. So just one call I put across the problem. Saying, you have an event in Abuja this year. Please, we would like you to prepare a little for us. And that was us. There was no, I think it was even about 2 weeks in the event. Thank you very much for presenting us such an arrangement and what is that. So we do appreciate you with this certificate and this bed. And we also have a bag here with a copy of our most recent journal. And also, I'm without from now, okay? This president will see you for your from now, okay? This president will see you for your estate, please. Our president, we appreciate you for coming. They are getting your certificate. So VIP will follow madam. Okay, I don't have much. Please, let's watch it down there. We will soon get us in the back our meal. So please accept for the PRPs who are expected to go upstairs for their lunch. Every other participant is expected to stay back in the hall as will be served. Earlier, when there was an announcement that considering our number here, that we're going to have people dose. So please just stay back. You're going to enjoy your dose. Your doses, so to speak.